This is a quick video tutorial on the new time logs we have for 2019. I want to highlight a couple of things and then in the next video show you how to edit things in the spreadsheet that you're going to have. First of all, to save time, you do not need to put the date in here if you are entering your times in on the same day that you want credit for. So if you're entering time in today and it's the same day you just finished work, don't waste your time putting this in here. It just takes extra time you don't need. This next one is self-explanatory. This next one, indicate if you were late 1 or 2, is self-explanatory, but I've noticed a few of you have missed clicking yes when indeed you are late 1 or 2. So please keep in mind that if you are late 1 or 2 that you click that so that you don't get credit that you shouldn't get. On the day start and end, that's self-explanatory, but some of you are forgetting to change the AM to a PM, and that will give you negative hours and it will cut into your 40-hour overtime possibilities. Were you working 1-to-1 after 3 p.m. with an MD? This is pretty self-explanatory, but just kind of keep in mind if the circumstances really are relevant to you clicking that. There are cases where maybe it doesn't make sense. And of course, if the MD is covering OB while they're with you, then that would not be an indication for including that. Rate your MD for the day. I'd like you to do that if you can. It's not mandatory, but we're trying to improve ourselves, and so if we can get good feedback continually throughout the year, that'll help. If it's been less than 5 hours you worked with the MD, plus or minus, that's not a hard and fast rule, but generally it should be that you worked with them for pretty much most of the day, so we can get an accurate rating from them. And this is the doc who you were with. Here, vacation hours. If you were working that day, you filled in this time card like you normally would, make sure you click this if you're on vacation so you can get the proper credit. And then if this is a scheduled holiday, click yes. What that means is, for example, January 1st fell on a Tuesday, so that work week that you had was only a 32-hour work week. And so you're going to get overtime credit if you work more than 32 hours. In order to capture that information, however, you guys need to click yes here so that it automatically credits you 8 hours for that particular day, allowing us to easily capture overtime hours for that kind of shortened week. So I'm going to show you, obviously there are going to be mistakes made, and so I'm going to show you how to fix those mistakes in the spreadsheet that you have access to, and that'll be in the next video. Video for tutorial on the spreadsheet that goes along with your time cards. I'm going to just kind of open this up so you can see it a little better. Basically, this is where everything that you entered arrives. You've got multiple tabs at the bottom. Everything that you enter goes into this. It's either going to be main or main 1 depending on your situation. But here, everything you enter arrives and it's categorized. This is the only sheet that really you should be editing if you need to edit something. So if you put in the wrong time, you can change that here. And that's where you would want to do that. If you do that in any of these other tabs, it'll foul everything up. Not that it can't be fixed, but it's going to be very challenging. So if you do need to fix a time or a date or whatever, then you can put it in here. If you, for example, if you worked and you forgot to click vacation hours on your time card, you could come in here and you could make this vacation by simply typing in yes. It's important that there's no spaces or any other things, or it won't recognize that as vacation. If you put vacation in on accident, you come in and delete that, and that will take care of that. At any rate, this is, you can see the timestamp and when these go in. This is the date that you entered if you entered one. The tab that you're going to be wanting to look at probably more is the one that tracks all of your information. In particular, the pay periods are listed here. Depending on who you are, it'll have your years with North Hills Division. It'll have your base salary. It'll have any other bonuses or anything that are relevant to you there. It tracks your hours worked and other information. I can edit this as we go along as I develop this spreadsheet so that it displays relevant information. And of course, if you think of anything that you need to have in here or want to have in here, you can ask me and I will try and do my best to get that information displayed. These are the monthly totals here onto the left, vacation, everything out by month. That is less relevant to you in the sense that your paychecks are going to be dependent on the pay period, and there's 13 of those through the year because we do it by week. So your overtime by week, your bonus time by week, and then the total for pay period 1, which would be the first 4 weeks of the year. And then the second 4 weeks of the year would be the second pay period, and so forth through the end of the year. This year it turned out that December 31st fell on the first week of this year. And so I have that information on this year's data. There are other sheets in here you can look at. Some of these are being developed still. Data is still being developed. Here's calcs. This sheet basically is where all the calculations are done. If you want to look and see to make sure the calculations are correct, you could look here. It gives you a view of what's going on in terms of the nuts and bolts of how things are calculated. This is an important sheet here, this tab. This is being kind of developed. Some of this is still kind of being built a little bit, but if you have an ultra early start, which we really don't expect at the beginning of the year, then this will capture that information and give you credit for that. So keep that in mind. Parameters, these are the parameters that are used. Work week. This should be tracking your average work. That's still being developed to make sure it's working properly. But if you look on work week, it should give you your average work week. And then, of course, here it will give you your totals. That format can be changed to duration so that you can see 21 hours in that case. And then you have overtime and vacation time. Okay. The main thing I want you to focus on, though, is that this gives you a broad view of what's going on. And the main sheet is going to be main 1 or main in your spreadsheet is where you can do any editing that you need to do. And really that should only be things in here. If you change anything else in these spreadsheets, for example, if you go into calcs and you try and change your time, you're going to see what happens here. It messes everything up. You can quickly back out by going to undo and fixing that, but you can't change anything here because it won't work.